Level up in life with these 11 Stoic strategies. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. In a world that constantly tests your patience, values, and peace of mind, Stoicism offers more than ancient philosophy. It offers a powerful toolkit for modern living. At Stoic Science, we believe that applying Stoic principles in daily life isn't just about staying calm. It's about leveling up your entire existence. In today's video, we'll explore 11 transformative Stoic strategies that can help you cultivate inner strength, emotional clarity, and lasting happiness. Which of these strategies resonates with you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your reflections and how Stoicism is shaping your journey. Strategies 1. Stoicism helps you stay grounded in chaos. Ancient Stoicism was never meant for monks in caves or philosophers in ivory towers. It was built for emperors in crisis, soldiers in battle, and everyday men facing pressure from every angle. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for fame. He wrote them to survive a world that never let him rest. Epictetus didn't teach from luxury. He taught from chains. Their lives were forged in hardship, and their wisdom still speaks to the man who wakes up with a weight on his chest, wondering how to hold it all together. Stoicism is not about detachment from life. It's about deeper engagement with it. It reminds you that chaos is inevitable, but being controlled by it is optional. When you live through pressure, whether it's financial strain, a difficult relationship, or the constant noise of opinions, you're tempted to react. But the Stoic knows that reaction is weakness. He trains himself to respond. He recognizes his emotions, but he does not let them dictate his actions. He understands that while he cannot control what happens, he always controls how he interprets it. This is where real power lies, not in dominating others, but in mastering oneself. And when the world demands you be everything to everyone, the Stoic refuses to betray himself to please the crowd. His peace is not for sale. You don't need to eliminate stress to live well. You need to build strength within it. The Stoic doesn't wait for the world to calm down before he finds clarity. He brings clarity into the storm. He understands the ancient truth. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Every hardship is a forge. Every insult, a sharpening stone. When you choose to see challenges as a chance to grow instead of reasons to quit, you stop breaking under pressure and start building muscle through it. This is how Stoicism turns suffering into strength. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this?" He is never the victim of circumstances because he never gives his power away. He doesn't chase validation, nor does he need applause to stay steady. His compass is internal. His victories are quiet. His character is shaped in how he shows up when no one's watching. In a world where people are addicted to noise, he becomes comfortable in silence, not because he has nothing to say, but because he chooses to speak only when it adds value. The Stoic man doesn't burn energy trying to control what he can't. He guards his mind the way a warrior guards the gates of a city. He disciplines his thoughts, honors his time, and lives by principle, not popularity. And while others get lost in distractions, he stays anchored. He knows that resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one choice at a time. When life tests him, he doesn't flinch. He faces it, grounded in the kind of stillness that only comes from mastering the storm within. And that, more than anything, is what separates the Stoic from the scattered. When chaos surrounds you, what keeps you grounded? If Stoicism has helped you find peace in the storm, share your experience in the comments below. If you're just beginning this journey, comment, "I will stay grounded so we can grow through the storm together." Strategies 2. Prioritize yourself without guilt. Putting yourself first is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of wisdom. According to Stoic philosophy, your mind, your peace, and your energy are sacred territories that only you are responsible for protecting. When you neglect your well-being in the name of being kind, helpful, or agreeable, you're not actually being virtuous. You're slowly abandoning yourself. The Stoics teach that real strength lies in knowing what is within your control, and your time, your attention, and your emotional boundaries are all within your domain. Saying yes to everything may seem generous, but it becomes destructive when it comes at the cost of your inner balance. A person constantly saying yes to others is often saying no to their own peace. And that imbalance doesn't make you more valuable. It makes you more vulnerable. There is no honor in being chronically exhausted, emotionally depleted, or mentally scattered in the name of being nice. You have to understand that self-care is not luxury. It is responsibility. Daily rituals like silence, rest, movement, and meaningful solitude are not accessories. They are necessities for a strong mind. The Stoics would say that just as a warrior sharpens his sword, you must sharpen your soul. A quiet moment with your thoughts, a firm boundary in a draining relationship, or a simple, "I'm not available today," is a declaration of your sovereignty. Boundaries are not about rejection. They are about respect. They tell the world where your peace begins. And those who resist your boundaries are often those who benefited from your lack of them. If you feel guilty for setting limits, remind yourself, you are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to honor your role in the world without losing yourself in it. Modern life constantly pulls you in different directions. Emails, social pressure, family expectations, digital distractions. Without strong inner discipline, it becomes easy to forget who you are and what matters to you. That's why daily affirmations in a Stoic context aren't fluffy mantras. They are anchors of identity. Saying "my energy is not for everyone," or "I choose peace over people-pleasing," is not selfish. It is self-respecting. You're not closing your heart. You're clearing your space. And in clearing that space, you make room for focus, depth, and intention. When you show up for life with your energy intact, your boundaries respected, and your mind steady, you naturally radiate more strength and clarity. Others will feel it, and you'll feel it too. That's the essence of Stoic philosophy. Managing your inner world with discipline so you're not constantly reacting to the outer one. So ask yourself, how many times have you overextended yourself to be liked, needed, or accepted? And what would shift if you gave yourself the same compassion, patience, and protection that you so freely offer others? That's not selfishness. That's self-mastery. Comment below. I choose me without guilt. If you're ready to honor your needs and step fully into your worth. Let's support each other on this path of self-prioritization and inner freedom. Strategies 3. Build confidence through authentic appearance. How you present yourself is not just about style, it's a direct expression of your internal state, your discipline, your values, and the silent promises you make to yourself. The Stoic mindset teaches that everything begins from within, but it must also be reflected outwardly in the way you carry yourself through the world. When your appearance is aligned with your principles, clean, calm, composed, you feel a quiet confidence settle into your bones, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself to be real. It's not about trying to impress anyone or dressing to meet external standards. It's about respect for yourself, for your journey, and for the role you play each day in shaping your character. A daily Stoic doesn't just meditate on virtues. They embody them, even in the way they step into a room, shake a hand, or choose what to wear in the morning. As Epictetus once said, "Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." When you dress with intention, not perfection, you create a subtle but powerful message to your subconscious. I am worthy of discipline, and I carry that worth with me. Every polished shoe, every steady posture, every quiet gesture of preparation becomes a ritual of alignment. Just like a warrior sharpens his blade before battle, you are preparing yourself to meet life with dignity and readiness. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and that dye seeps into the fabric of how we show up physically. You walk taller when your spirit is centered and your outer self reflects that calm. You speak more clearly when you feel anchored in your appearance, and you lead not with noise, but with presence. This isn't about being obsessed with image. Stoicism teaches indifference to the opinions of others, but not indifference to the self. How you show up is a reflection of how seriously you take your mission, your day, your life. And when the outer world sees a person who is orderly, grounded, and intentional, it often mirrors that same energy back. So the question is, how would your energy shift if your appearance truly reflected the strength you've built within? How might your confidence grow if every small act of grooming or preparation became a sacred daily Stoic ritual, not of vanity, but of alignment? True confidence is quiet, born from congruence between thought, action, and presence. You don't need to prove anything, only to live in a way that honors your values. And when your outer world reflects your inner order, you begin to move through life as if every moment matters, because it does. If this inspired you to show up more authentically, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let's keep growing together as we unlock Strategy 4. Strategies 4. Use smiling as a Stoic strategy. Smiling, often dismissed as something trivial or shallow, is actually one of the most profound Stoic strategies you can practice as a man navigating a demanding life. It's not about plastering on fake positivity or pretending everything is fine. It's about stepping into your power and reclaiming control over your inner state. The Stoics taught us that while the world may be unpredictable, our response is entirely ours. When you choose to smile, even in the middle of stress, frustration, or emotional turmoil, you're sending a clear message. I govern myself. Biologically, that smile releases dopamine and serotonin, natural mood enhancers that help regulate your emotions and shift you out of reactivity. Emotionally, it becomes a declaration that you're not surrendering to the chaos, but rising above it with calm authority. In the modern world, where tension is constant and men are expected to carry silent burdens, career pressure, family duties, inner battles, that to use your body as a tool for emotional regulation becomes essential. A smile is not a weakness, it's training. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, practicing a relaxed, grounded smile in difficult moments strengthens your mental resilience. When your child throws a tantrum, when your boss misjudges you, when your plans unravel, choosing to smile doesn't mean you accept defeat. It means you're choosing clarity over chaos, presence over panic, principle over pride. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That smile becomes a symbol of that inner power. There's a quiet kind of authority in the man who stays composed while others crumble. A man who smiles at adversity communicates that he's not easily shaken. In conversations, a calm smile can soften misunderstandings. In meetings, it projects quiet confidence. In private, it reminds you that peace is always available, even in the midst of pressure. This isn't performative, it's disciplined. Just as a soldier trains his stance, the Stoic trains his face not to conceal weakness, but to embody strength. This habit, small as it seems, separates the man who reacts from the man who responds. Every day offers you 100 chances to choose your attitude. And in those moments, a simple smile, deliberate, grounded, authentic, can completely transform your energy and your outcomes. It interrupts stress. It clears space for wisdom. It reminds you that you are not a slave to circumstance. You are a stoic, calm, aware, intentional. So when life next challenges you, when things don't go your way, remember this: the smile is not for them. It's for you. It's a signal to your nervous system and your soul that you are still in command. And that alone is a quiet kind of victory. Do you believe in the quiet power of a stoic smile? If you do, affirm it in the comments below. I lead with calm and a smile. Strategies 5. Set boundaries while remaining kind. You can be kind and still say no. That's not contradiction. That's clarity. In the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a truth that many overlook. Protecting your peace isn't rude, it's wise. The Stoics never taught us to be indifferent or cold, but they did teach us to be disciplined in how we give our time, our energy, and our attention. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters, and they separate what nourishes you from what drains you. When you say no to someone who constantly takes without giving, you are not rejecting them. You are choosing yourself. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend his days trying to appease everyone. He ruled with presence, guided by values, not guilt. You can do the same in your own life. You don't have to justify your limits to those who benefit from your lack of them. Consider the modern worker who's always the go-to person, the one who says yes to every favor, stays late without complaint, takes on others' responsibilities because it feels easier than asserting a boundary. At first, it looks noble, but over time, it corrodes. They burn out quietly, begin to resent silently, and lose the joy that once lit their path. That's not kindness. That's avoidance dressed as virtue. Real kindness is honest. It's the courage to say, I care, but I can't right now. It's the ability to walk away from chaos, not because you don't love, but because you love with discernment. The Stoics would call that wisdom in action, a calm refusal rooted in clarity, not anger. And in a world that tells you to always be available, always be agreeable, standing firm in your peace is a revolutionary act. Saying no doesn't mean shutting people out. It means showing up to life on your terms. Epictetus reminds us that what's outside our control should not control us, and that includes people's reactions to our boundaries. You can't live well if your well-being depends on everyone's approval. You have to be willing to disappoint others in order to remain loyal to your truth. This isn't selfishness, it's my responsibility. When you let go of the need to please, you free yourself from emotional slavery. And in that space, your energy becomes sacred again. You stop leaking yourself into places where your presence is only valued when it's convenient for others. So the next time you feel pressured to say yes, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this out of alignment or out of fear? If it's fear, that's your sign to step back. You don't need to argue, explain, or over-apologize. A simple, grounded no can be the most powerful affirmation of your self-respect. In the spirit of Stoic philosophy, this is not about building distance for the sake of pride, but about choosing peace over performance. And when you learn to say no with grace and firmness, you stop bending for the world and finally stand tall within it. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on how to set firm boundaries with grace and protect your peace without losing your kindness. Strategy 6. Respond calmly to stress. Stress is inevitable, but how you respond defines everything. With a stoic mindset, you stop being at the mercy of circumstances and start becoming the master of your reactions. A daily stoic doesn't run from stress. They stand in front of it, calm and grounded, knowing their inner peace is not up for negotiation. When a wave of anxiety hits, when things don't go as planned, take a breath, not just a shallow one, but a deep, deliberate breath that pulls you back into your body. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Most of the time, the answer is no. And if it won't matter then, why let it consume you now? This isn't about denial or pretending to be unaffected. It's about rising above the noise, seeing clearly through the chaos, and choosing to respond rather than react. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the core of Stoicism. Power from within, not permission from the world. In daily life, that might mean you pause before answering a rude message, or you smile through a delay that used to ruin your mood. It might mean you refuse to let someone else's chaos become your own. Strength isn't loud. It's the quiet confidence that you can choose peace, no matter the pressure. And peace isn't passive. It's a decision you make every day, sometimes every minute. It's choosing to observe instead of absorb, to breathe instead of break, to let go instead of hold on to what doesn't serve you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you live by that, your stress becomes your training. Each challenge is no longer an attack. It's an invitation to return to your center. The more you respond with clarity and calm, the more unshakable you become. Practicing the daily stoic means preparing your mind like a warrior prepares for battle, not with aggression, but with readiness, wisdom, and discipline. It's a mindset that asks, who do I want to be in this moment? Do I want to be reactive and small, or resilient and expansive? And what would life feel like if I met every challenge not with fear, but with presence? With this perspective, stress becomes a teacher. Your response becomes a reflection of your deepest values. And every quiet, intentional choice you make, every time you decide not to let stress take the wheel, you reclaim your life. Are you ready to face stress with grace and calm? If so, comment below. I choose peace to affirm your commitment to this powerful shift. Strategy 7. Align your life with core values. When you stop living by other people's standards and begin honoring your own, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to chase approval, fit into molds, or pretend to be someone you're not. Stoicism teaches that true strength begins with self-awareness, knowing your core values and refusing to abandon them, no matter how tempting or convenient it may be. A Stoic man is not moved by public opinion because his compass doesn't point outward, it points within. He doesn't measure success by how loud the applause is, but by how aligned his actions are with his principles. As Marcus Aurelius said, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. And in that simple statement lies the key to peace, power, and personal integrity. Living in alignment with your values means you stop negotiating with yourself. If honesty is your value, you don't lie, especially to yourself. If discipline matters to you, you wake up and show up, even when motivation fades. If family is your priority, you don't sacrifice them for fleeting gains. The modern man is bombarded with distractions, status, image, validation, but the Stoic chooses clarity over chaos. He knows that chasing everything leads to becoming nothing. When your life is built around your values, you gain something most men spend their lives searching for: peace of mind and unshakable confidence. Not the kind that screams or postures, but the kind that stands quietly and does not waver. You begin to walk through life with direction. You speak with purpose. You no longer wonder who you are because every choice reinforces your identity. There's no performance, no disguise, just authenticity. You don't shrink yourself to be liked or stretch yourself to be accepted. You don't ask, what will they think? You ask, is this aligned with who I am? And that shift is powerful. It simplifies your life. It sharpens your focus. It builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you choose your values over convenience, over fear, over comfort, you strengthen your inner foundation. And over time, that foundation becomes unshakable. But this kind of clarity doesn't happen by accident. It takes courage. It takes sitting with yourself and asking uncomfortable questions. It takes walking away from situations that don't serve your principles. It takes saying no when others expect yes, and standing firm even when you're misunderstood. That's why Stoicism is not a passive philosophy. It's a way of life for men who are ready to lead themselves before trying to lead anyone else. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. And the man who aligns his daily choices with timeless values becomes rare, respected, and remembered, not because he followed the crowd, but because he stood tall when others bent. So ask yourself with honesty, are your actions today a reflection of the man you truly are, or the man others want you to be? The answer to that question reveals everything. If you're still with us and this message is resonating, comment below. I live by my values. Your voice helps us build a stronger, more authentic community. Strategies 8. Stand firm in what you believe. True strength, according to Stoic philosophy, is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, grounded, and unwavering. It's found in the man who doesn't flinch when the crowd disagrees, who doesn't argue his beliefs, but lives them with quiet consistency. Integrity means alignment between your words, your values, and your actions not performing morality for approval, but embodying it when no one is watching. When you're rooted in what you believe, you don't need applause, validation, or external agreement. Your character speaks for itself. Think about how often the world pushes you to bend your values for convenience to please others, avoid conflict, or fit in. In those moments, Stoic philosophy invites you to pause and ask yourself, am I living in accordance with my highest self? The person who lives with integrity doesn't need to defend their path. Like a mountain that does not shake in the wind, their silence becomes their strength. You don't need to preach your beliefs to prove them. In fact, the more deeply you live them, the less you feel the need to explain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That single sentence cuts through all the noise. In a world that's addicted to appearances and performance, being authentic is a revolutionary act. But being authentic isn't always easy. You might lose approval, be misunderstood, or stand alone. That's where real courage lives, in choosing truth when it's inconvenient, in honoring your values when no one else does. Every time you stay true to yourself in the face of pressure, you become stronger. Not in the way the world defines strength, but in the Stoic sense, resilient, unshakable, whole. There will be times when standing your ground means being judged or mocked. Maybe it's when you refuse to gossip at work, when you choose integrity over profit, or when you decline to follow the crowd because your conscience says no. These aren't dramatic, cinematic moments. They're quiet, internal victories. You win, not by changing others, but by remaining unchanged in your truth. That is the essence of Stoic philosophy. Power rooted in presence, not performance. Just like a tree grows deeper roots when the winds get stronger, you too develop strength when tested by life. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, not rigid, but steady. Not cold, but clear. So ask yourself, what principles are non-negotiable in your life? Where have you compromised in the past, and what did it cost you? Your answers reveal what kind of man you are becoming. The good news is, it's never too late to return to your center. When you start living from your core, steadily, consistently, with integrity, you stop chasing respect and start commanding it. You stop needing to win arguments, and you start winning trust. You stop proving and simply become. That is how Stoic philosophy transforms not just how you think, but how you exist. Stay connected with our Stoic community by subscribing to the channel. Here, we share timeless wisdom to help you stand firm in what you believe and live with unshakable purpose. Remember, you are a warrior of reason and virtue, worthy of the strength that Stoicism awakens within you. Strategies 9. Use humor and wit to stay resilient. The Stoic mindset isn't about suppressing your emotions or walking through life like a stone wall. It's about mastery, resilience, and the power to choose how you respond, especially when life becomes unpredictable or absurd. That's why the ancient Stoics, despite their reputation for seriousness, deeply valued humor and wit. They understood that laughing at yourself isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you're no longer controlled by your ego, by external circumstances, or by the chaos of the moment. Humor, in its highest form, becomes a shield and a sword. It protects your peace and cuts through tension. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And laughter is one of the purest expressions of that power. It's a declaration that the situation doesn't own you. When you can see the comedy in your failures, the ridiculousness of other people's behavior, or the irony of life's timing, you shift from reaction to observation, and that's where true control begins. Imagine you spill coffee all over your shirt before a big meeting. You could spiral into stress, shame, and frustration, or you could chuckle, shrug it off, and walk in anyway, radiating calm. That shift, small as it seems, is profound. It's the essence of the daily Stoic choosing your state of mind, no matter the circumstance. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you respond with wit, with grace, with that quiet smirk that says, "This won't break me," you're embodying emotional alchemy. You've taken something heavy and turned it light. You've bent suffering into strength. Humor also dissolves barriers between people. It softens conflict, bridges misunderstanding, and invites connection without forcing vulnerability. When someone insults you and you respond not with anger, but with a clever comeback or a smile, you've disarmed them and you've elevated yourself. It's not passivity, it's strategic emotional freedom. The daily Stoic teaches us to keep our inner world steady. And sometimes that means being willing to look foolish, to admit mistakes with a grin, to not take ourselves so damn seriously. Because when we do, we make room for joy, to coexist with discipline, for peace to walk hand in hand with courage. Think about it. When was the last time you let yourself laugh at something that didn't go your way? When did you last tell a story about your own failure? Not to complain, but to entertain. What would life feel like if you allowed yourself that lightness every day? Stoicism isn't about draining the color out of life. It's about learning to keep your center while still dancing through the storm. And often, that dance begins with a smile, a joke, or a moment of irreverent clarity. In a world that tries to provoke you, pull you into drama, or wear you down, the ability to laugh genuinely, freely isn't just emotional intelligence. It's spiritual strength. It's a daily Stoic practice that keeps your soul untouchable and your spirit awake. Affirm this truth today by commenting below. I use humor to rise above challenges. Let this reminder ground you as you walk through life with resilience, knowing that a light heart can carry you through even the heaviest storms. Strategies 10. Treat everyone, including yourself, with respect. Respect in Stoicism is not about agreement or approval. It's about recognizing the innate dignity of every individual while standing firmly in your own truth. A Stoic does not need others to mirror his values or opinions to treat them with decency. He understands that the ability to disagree without disrespect is a reflection of inner mastery. This is not a weakness, it's power under control. When someone tries to provoke you, insult you, or pull you into their emotional chaos, choosing respect is not submission, it's sovereignty. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. None of them can hurt me." That's the essence of Stoicism. Knowing that the chaos around you doesn't have to disrupt the peace within you. But this level of grounded strength doesn't come from the outside. It begins with how you treat yourself. Respecting others is only half the picture. The other half, often the one most neglected, is self-respect. This means honoring your own time, energy, and boundaries with the same seriousness you give to others' needs. A man who lives by Stoic principles does not allow himself to be drained by every demand or distraction. He doesn't confuse being available with being valuable. He understands that saying no is not selfish, it's sacred. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because growth requires prioritizing your path over public approval. When you respect yourself, you stop performing for acceptance and start living with alignment. You don't sacrifice your peace to avoid disappointing others. You don't stay silent when your values are compromised. You build a life that reflects who you are, not who others want you to be. Modern life constantly tests this. The pressure to please your boss, meet every expectation, be everything to everyone, these forces can chip away at your core unless you are anchored in self-respect. And this anchoring doesn't look like arrogance or dominance. It looks like a quiet refusal to betray your inner compass. It looks like stepping away when energy turns toxic. It looks like creating space, not because you're distant, but because you're disciplined. When you live with this level of respect, people begin to sense it in your presence. You no longer need to shout to be heard or prove to be seen. You simply are, and that is enough. The Stoic man is not emotionless. He simply refuses to let emotions govern him. He listens without reacting, speaks with purpose, and acts with intention. He treats others with dignity, not because they've earned it, but because he has. And he protects his own well-being without guilt, because he knows he cannot give from an empty cup. In every choice, how he speaks, what he tolerates, where he places his energy, he demonstrates that respect is not something he demands from the world, but something he gives to himself first. If you're ready to walk the path of respect for yourself and for others, comment below. I choose respect. Let this be your affirmation as you level up with the wisdom of Stoicism. Strategies 11. Eliminate negative energy from all sources. Toxic people, mental clutter, destructive routines, and that quiet yet persistent voice of self-doubt. These are the hidden thieves of your peace and power. You don't notice the damage right away, but over time, they erode your strength, cloud your clarity, and disconnect you from your highest potential. In Stoic philosophy, eliminating what weakens the soul is not just a suggestion, it's a discipline. Epictetus reminded us that the first step to wisdom is admitting what we don't know. And sometimes, that means acknowledging the mess we've grown comfortable with. Whether it's a draining friendship, a chaotic environment, or a mental loop of criticism, the truth is this: if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive to keep. The mind reflects its environment. When your physical space is filled with unnecessary noise, piles of unused items, disorganized surroundings, it sends subtle messages of disorder to the brain. Every time you see clutter, you're reminded of a task undone, a weight unlifted. Clearing it is more than cleaning, it's reclaiming your mental bandwidth. The same goes for habits. It's easy to dismiss the late-night scrolling, the constant people-pleasing, the daily spiral of comparison as normal. But those patterns silently chip away at your confidence and discipline. Stoic thinkers understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But what colors are influencing your thoughts? Who do you allow to speak into your life? If someone constantly leaves you confused, insecure, or exhausted, your loyalty to them is a form of self-betrayal. Removing that influence is not cruel, It's necessary. One man spent 15 years clinging to a friendship rooted in manipulation. He feared being alone, feared confrontation, and so he stayed. But the moment he walked away, his world shifted. He could think clearly. He slept better. His work improved. That's the unspoken power of subtraction. When you remove what is wrong, what is right finally has space to grow. This is the heart of Stoic philosophy. To simplify, not for the sake of minimalism, but for mastery. You cannot control the world, but you can control what you entertain. You can control what you let into your mind, your home, your relationships. Why keep feeding what hurts you? Ask yourself this: what in your life right now is quietly draining you? What are you tolerating that you would never advise someone you love to accept? The answers are uncomfortable, but they lead to freedom. The Stoics were not about denial. They were about discipline. They knew that eliminating the unnecessary opens the door to what is essential. You gain strength, not by adding more, but by shedding what weighs you down. Letting go of noise, drama, distraction, and fear doesn't leave you empty. It makes space for peace, purpose, and power. Choosing your environment, your influences, and your mental diet is not selfish. It's self-respect. The journey is not easy, but it is clear. If it pollutes your mind, your time, or your energy, it doesn't belong. Choose stillness. Choose clarity. Choose what aligns with your highest self. That is how a Stoic levels up, not by force, but by focus. To affirm your commitment to a life free from toxic influences, comment below: I choose peace. Let this be your declaration, and a light for others, ready to release what no longer serves them. As you've seen, the wisdom of the Stoics isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a timeless guide for living with strength, clarity, and purpose. Whether you're navigating stress, facing setbacks, or striving to become your best self, these strategies can help you rise above and move forward with intention. Remember, growth isn't about perfection. It's about consistency, discipline, and inner peace. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Science. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming insights on Stoicism and personal mastery. Your journey to leveling up starts now. Walk it with wisdom